This is the last night. I've been with y'all for 8 weeks. This is week 8 or 9? 7 weeks, week eight. Eight. Okay, cool. Thank you, Kimberly. And I gotta say, there are some of y'all who have been coming back consistently. Like this has been feeding you one way or another, and I just want to say thank you. Also, it's been a just a really nice journey to see how amazing the ADCA is, how dedicated its breeders and raisers are. Again, some of you who don't know, I used to be the breed association manager for the Livestock Conservancy, and I had a lot of insider information on basically every single breed association. Most of them are not functional. Just going to flat out say it. They are not functional. They are very dysfunctional. Some of you know this by going on Facebook groups and just seeing how they argue and bicker with each other. Um, the ADCA, however, has been, in my personal opinion, top three heritage breed association out there. I'm just going to put that out. I always tell the board members that I'm not tickling pink. It's just every time I have dealt with y'all, it's been professional, it's been with class, it's been encouraging, and it's been a very rewarding experience for me. And so I hope this has been a rewarding experience for you because I like working with y'all. So without further ado, we are going to get into our final slides for this training webinar. So hold on one second. This is your dream. This might not be your child's dream. And not that your child can't participate in that, but at the same time, this is still your dream and your responsibility. Are you putting too much pressure on your children to embrace this dream that you have, even though maybe it's not their dream? Maybe God doesn't even want them to go in that direction. Some of you are trying to build a legacy of land, and I've met enough people to hear that their kids don't even become interested in it. And they might not until they're 40. That might happen. But again, what is really eternal? Is it the land or is it your relationship with your family? Is it a relationship with the people who support you? I dare say that is more eternal. That is more important than anything that you can produce on your farm, any amount of money that you can make. Do you have people on your team who will support you through thick and thin? If you do, show them some appreciation. So, I hope that was helpful. All right, next thing is not sharing impactful stories. So I highly recommend, again, attitude of gratitude. Let's say maybe you didn't have the big year that you wanted to have, but have you ever asked your customers, like, hey, just checking in, maybe give them a phone call, especially if you don't got that many customers, you have the bandwidth to give someone a phone call compared to just sending out emails. I've managed customer lists that were 100 to 200. I can't call everybody, right? But what I have been able to do is email. So if you have a lot of people on the list, email them. If you got a short list, it would mean the world if you're able to give them a call. This does mean going back to one of our previous sessions about data analytics, collecting emails, collecting phone numbers when you get purchases. That's very important. And it's not just for the sake of hoarding an email list, right? But it's for the sake of reaching back out, having touch points with your community, with your customers are a part of that community. So if you have a small list, call them, give them a call, say, hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm farmer blah blah blah. Just want to check in and see how life is going. I didn't want to sell anything to you. I just want to know how you're doing it. Is there anything I can do to help you? Can you imagine if their farmer called them and said, "Hey, what can I do for you?" I'd be like, well, not really anything, but I'm just tickled pink. I mean, I'm not pink, but you get the drift. I'm just tickled pink that you'd even call me. I didn't think I was that important. I can't tell you how I've called people and they had a hard day. Some people are in marriages where they haven't been told I love you in years. And when you pick up the phone and you're just You don't want anything from them. You just want to say, I'm just so glad that you're in my life. Thank you for supporting the farm. What can I do to help? How can I be of support? It can literally change not just someone's day, but someone's life. People have shared stories with me about problems that have happened in life. And guess what? If you want to call someone, you got maybe a whole little buffer, some time buffer. Might not be a quick conversation, and that's okay. Why? Because you're building rapport. You're building up your reputation with them. And if you're like, okay, well, it's only gonna be 5 minutes. I ain't got that much time. I only got 5 minutes. You know, okay, well, act that way then. But don't be surprised if they don't have that same connection that maybe they would have wanted or that you were able to give if you weren't being selfish. Not saying that you are, but if you were, that's something that you might want to consider. Another way of being able to share impactful stories is by calling them, you ask them, or emailing them, you ask them like, hey, how has my products helped align with some life goals that you have? And for a lot of people, it might be, oh, well, funny you should ask. Like, part of the reason why I purchased from you is because I have X, Y, and Z health condition. And your meat, or for some of y'all, you're doing dairy, or for some of y'all, you're doing skincare products like soaps, salves, lotions, chapsticks, whatever, that, I've been able to live a healthier life. Like, I can trust that I'm using clean products. I had really bad eczema, but using your soap or using your lotion really helps. Beef tallow soap lotion really helps. Or, I get a lot of inflammation when I eat commercial meat, but when I eat your meat, I don't get the same grass-fed meat. I don't get the same inflammation, right? I love beef, but I can't, my stomach can't handle regular beef. But your beef has been good to me. Your beef is good for my gut, right? Start taking notes. Ask them, hey, do you mind if I quote some of the stuff that you shared with me? I think that the other customers or my audience, maybe if you have social media present, I highly recommend you have social media present. I would love for my audience just to hear a little bit about your story. If you really want to take it up a notch, put it on the Zoom call. Get a video testimonial of them. The Zoom call don't got to be long. It could be 5 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. But getting a actual video testimonial is worth its weight in gold. Other customers, you put that on the website, other customers are gonna be like, oh, okay, there are real people, real looking people. It's not AI, it's not fake, deep fakes, real people actually buying their product and speaking highly of it. I want to be like them. I want to have that glow that they have, well, because they're eating your products or using your products. For some of you, maybe you want to go into agritourism and you're creating experiences. And so, customers can say, yeah, me and my husband or me and my wife, like we really learned we needed to get out the house, right? We were at each other's throats and we love each other. We don't want to divorce each other or anything like that, but we realized we need to spend more quality time together. And going to your farm actually gives us a space to spend a little bit more quality time that's structured, but yet fun, exciting, something we don't normally get to do. So, in all honesty, going out to your property during the farm dinners or the harvest festivals or whatever, et cetera, has allowed us to have a healthier marriage. I really appreciate what you're doing. I can't tell you how it's helped me. Oh my goodness. You wouldn't even know if you didn't ask. So again, think about like how can I celebrate those wins? How can I also leverage the wins of my customers and market it? That's super important, right? Because it's not just like, oh, yeah, I'm just calling just for the sake of calling, but it's also how can I leverage their success and draw back into how I can show other people, potential customers, how they can also experience the success of the people who are in that customer circle that I have. Hopefully that makes sense. And then the last point, common mistake, and a lot of people, a lot of farmers are not collaborating with local partners. Um, that can look like a couple of different things. I believe that man was not meant to be alone. I believe that also businesses were not to operate in isolation. So I do believe in certain partnerships. Sure, you can have institutional partners, One good example, and that goes into what to do, is give back through donations. So in the past, and actually, I want to talk about what I want to do. For some of you who don't know, I live in North Carolina, but I'm looking for property in Virginia. And when I go back into that farming space, I want to do things very differently. One of my goals is to raise pigs. Clearly, pork rind, raising pigs, that makes sense. But I'm going to have a batch of pigs that is strictly going to be for donations, strictly going to go to the food bank, strictly. Now you might ask, well, you could just sell that pork. Why not sell it? One, there's going to be a part of a of waste management in terms of institutional partners like grocery stores and food distribution centers. I can leverage their waste to help feed, cover some of that cost of pigs. That reduces my feed bill, which is really important. And that allows for me, again, ingenuity, innovation is allowing for me to give back more, right? But I do believe that it is better to give than it is to receive, right? And people who live on that principle, they are so much more fulfilled. Have you ever met someone who was constantly trying to get something from you, constantly taking from you, or maybe someone that you know? You want to be around those kind of people? They're not fun to be around. Like, don't get me wrong, most of the time they mean well, but there's just something different about someone who just pours into people, who's not afraid to give back. That's someone we aspire to be. Why can't we, instead of aspiring to be that person, actually be that person? So there are other ways that I give back, even though I'm not currently, technically, I'm in between in terms of farming while I'm looking for new property. But there are other ways that I give back. I give back my time. Uh, as a professional public educator and speaker, I will normally do webinars for kids in school systems, or I have an organization or a nonprofit that'll reach out to me and be like, "Hey, can you be a speaker or something like that?" And as long as I have the schedule for it, I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Put me in for lunch." I've gone to events. I'm like, hey, just pay for my gas, and I'll just show up. It's the kids. I do anything for the kids. And just give back. I don't want anything from those experiences. I simply want to pour into the next generation. How are you pouring into your community? How are you creating institutional partners? Because again, you have cooperative extension, you got local universities, you got local schools. Some of you got boys and girl clubs or foster programs, right? Kids who are in need, maybe adults who are in need. Have you thought about how you could get back to them? And it doesn't necessarily have to be beef or your products. Maybe it could be just simply creating space to host an experience. There are some organizations that are like, hey, we need a space to do an event. Could you say, hey, yeah, no problem. Don't worry about paying me anything. All I ask that you clean up after you're done. Just make sure you completely clean up after you're done and call it a day. You're doing it. What you're doing is for a good cause. I fully support it. And this is my way of giving back. So it doesn't always have to be material wealth that you have to give back or resources. It can be giving back of your time and also giving back of the space that you've been blessed to have. So those are some things to kind of think about when you're thinking about how do I celebrate this farming journey? People who do not celebrate don't last long. And the people that you see last long, guess what? They're miserable. They're decrepit. They're on the verge of divorce. Their kids don't love them anymore. They don't trust anybody. They're restless, discontent, and irritable. I don't want you to be that way. I do not want you to be that way. But it starts by having an attitude of gratitude and figuring out ways of celebrating not just your life and your successes, where however big or small, but also celebrating the successes of the people that you've touched, that you have the fortune of interacting with, people who took a risk on you, whether it was your customers, whether it was a family member that took a risk on you in this farming endeavor, whether it was your community that took a risk on you. Show support, show gratitude. Trust me, it will be well for your life if you do. All right, so we're going to go to the breakout session. Questions for today are, make sure. How do you show appreciation and how has it impacted loyalty and motivation? Again, that appreciation is not just for customers, it can also be for your spouse, your kids. Anyway, again, anyone that's on your team and anyone that took the risk of buying your products. How have you shown appreciation and how has it impacted loyalty and motivation? And also during this breakout session, we're going to do question number two. What success stories could you share to build a stronger community connection? Now, some of you, you have been talking to your customers, but you haven't been sharing the stories. So, what success stories can you share to build a stronger community connection? Also, it doesn't have to be just your customer's success story. It can be your success story as well, right? And just sharing that with your customers, let them know that, hey, you're still alive, you're still trucking through things, and hey, don't mind being vulnerable and saying to your customers like, "Hey, this year was a hard year. I went through some things. I realized I was battling depression. I was going through this and that." I can't tell you how many people, instead of running away from you, if you show a little bit of vulnerability, actually like embrace you more. If you're willing to show it's a little bit of vulnerability about your story, not just the highlights, but also the hiccups here and there. You gotta share all your business, but just the hiccups here and there. People will humanize you even more and they will give you even more support. So, again, question number two, what success stories could you share to build a stronger community connection? All right, so with that, I'm going to create some breakout rooms. I want to put the questions in the chat too. Let me make sure I just so I want to hear what y'all talked about, what y'all learned. And also start the conversation off by saying, Darlene Bethany Farms says, today I actually made contact with someone in the foster care system. We are going to partner up. We are going to set up visits for kids. She is going to promote my farm. You can't make that up. That's so cool. The foster care system. I don't know where that came from when I was saying it, but I think I'm vibing with you, Darlene Bethany Barnes. That's so cool, so cool. Yeah. So I want to open the floor. People have 2-minute shares each, and I want to hear what y'all learned. And again, if you have a question, maybe you're in a situation where you're like, how, here's what I have, but I don't know how to leverage or utilize or how to ask or how to create partnerships. Can you help me out? And we'll be able to help you out as a group. So yeah, who would like to go first?
I was saying that Darlene talked about besides the foster care farm tours, she also mentioned that she likes to give gifts to people that are friends and family, and then was going to be donating eggs and microgreens and other farm products to people in need and within the community. Mark talked about how like one of his like his hate guy will text him midsummer, say, "Hey, how are you doing? You know, do you need anything?" And he said how that impacted him on making him feel like, wow, that was really nice that, he thought of me. Um, and made him feel appreciated as a customer because he does spend a significant amount of money on hay from this man. Um, and then I talked about how many, many years ago, gosh, it's got to be at least 10 years ago, I actually bought a bowl from Mark long before I even knew him. It was just a Facebook ad, and we drove all the way to Tennessee. And when we left, his wife had a goodie bag for us. And to this day, I still have the t-shirt that came in the bag. And every time I put that t-shirt on, I think of the Cheney Dexter cattle. So that impacted me. She was showing her appreciation for me buying a bovine from her. And then that gift had a continual impact for the next 10 years. I would think of them. So I thought that was really neat. And because of that, I ended up starting to give gifts to my customers when they buy a bovine. It'll be, I'll put together a goodie bag kind of like she did. But she really does his wife goes above and beyond. And even knowing we had such a long travel back from Tennessee to Oklahoma, she had some Danishes and donuts for us for our drive to eat home. It was such a nice gesture that it really makes you it was above and beyond and it had a good impact.
Wow, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Kimberly. And I like the idea of the good. Well, first of all, before I even go there, how do you keep a shirt for 10 years? I need to learn what you do to keep shirts alive for 10 years. I think I got some shirts that are maybe 5 years old, maybe six, but 10, either that's a quality shirt, must be 100% cotton. I don't know. But I like that you mentioned the goodie bags because they don't even have to be that expensive. Like it can be a small goodie bag. Now, again, if you're doing goodie bags, here's the thing. Make sure the bag is not bigger than the stuff you're gonna put in. Don't be giving people big bags and you only put a little bit in. That look weird. Get the small bags. In fact, yeah, get a little small bag about this big. Sorry, y'all can see my armpit. About this big, and put in some candies. Don't gotta be cheap candies. Could be good kind. Some farm swag like what Kimberly had mentioned. If you have any value-added products, maybe just one value-added product. Some of you are like, oh yeah, here's a free holiday beef tallow soap square. Happy holidays. And it's like peppermint. It's got the little green and red stripes with some glitter sprinkles in there or something. I don't know. I'm just being silly. So, I like the goodie bag idea. I think that's a really good idea. All right, what are some other things that y'all talked about? I want to hear from some people maybe I hadn't heard before. That you learned something or that you have a tip you want to share with somebody else. And again, maybe you have a question like, how do I do partnerships? Or what does it look like for me to give when I feel like I don't have much to give because money is tight? It's 2024, pork rind. I don't know if I have a lot I can actually spare or give. We'd love to be able to hear from you and be able to answer that question as a group. So I'm going to open the floor back up to anybody who wants to talk.
One thing I do with selling soap is when I get an order from a new customer online and I'm shipping it out to them, I always put in like another product like that they haven't ordered as like a little thank you with like a note of, hey, thanks for supporting our small business. And I kind of do that for two reasons. One, hoping that when they decide to order again, they expand what they're choosing to purchase because they've tried more things. But also, as a way to say thank you. And when I'm doing like vendor events, farmers markets, special like Christmas shows, I like to put out something for collecting emails and give them like 15% off their first online order. So it makes them feel special for buying, but also it's a way for me to like gather up emails.
Awesome. I love it, Denise. I love it a lot. Yeah, and that goes back to kind of what we talked about in some previous sessions about data collection. It doesn't have to be malicious like AI robots, just gathering private information. Um, but it can be like, hey, I would like your email. I'm not going to tell you that I would like your email, but hey, would you like this free gift? Would you like this discount code? All I need is your email. Oh, I like it. All right, next person. Who else would like to share?
Well, seeing as how I'm to use the old business term, I'm pre-revenue. And so I haven't actually sold anything yet. So I don't have any customers to reach out with that. So I'm still just kind of, collecting the ideas, but I think what really sticks with me the most as far as getting there is doing kind of the farm tour uh kind of thing. I'm gonna if all the cows are pregnant, I'm gonna be overflowing with calves come spring. So I'm gonna have to be doing something here pretty soon. And but I think that's universally I just get like I can see people's eyes light up um when they have the thought of actually seeing where the cow would come from or the potentially, to milk them and, to be able to get some milk and see where the milk is coming from. Um, and that's just what I'm looking to kind of get towards, but I'm not actually there yet.
Thanks for sharing, John. And yeah, nothing more cuter than baby animals.
Yeah.
They sell themselves. They will always sell themselves. You have little kids with their parents, little kids be like, I mean, just screaming their head off about how cute little cow is. Shoot, you got grown women who are like, and you gotta remind them like, hey, the animals aren't for touching. Unless they are, unless they are. Hell, we got folks who will um work with photographers and they'll have customers come down to the farm and get a Christmas photo shoot with the cow or the emu or the rabbits. I mean, so maybe if you want to do that, that's an option. That don't cost a whole lot on your end. I'm not talking to you specifically, John, but I'm just in general to the audience.
We just had three kids, baby, but all bucklings, but it's okay. Born the last few days, and I could kick myself for not already having something lined up to use that, situation. So next time I'll be prepared and I'll have something set up. But it's not. I can still monopolize on the situation, and I'm gonna think of something. So we'll see. Maybe holiday. Maybe I could put some hay bales and some decorations up and just throw out, come take pictures, play with baby goats on online or on Facebook or something, and still, reap a little bit of reward for the situation because they are so cute. I mean, baby goats. I mean, all baby animals, but they're just so cute. So yeah, I'll be ready next time.
Thanks for sharing, darling Bethany Farms. And yeah, here's the thing. All you gotta do if you have emails is just say, "Hey, baby goat's born. Just born. A little picture, little baby goats." You can I don't know if you're doing bottle fed or not. I used to manage a grade A raw dairy operation, and we had dairy goats, and so bottle feeding was a little bit more efficient. But just post those pictures on the email and say if you would like to come meet and name them. It's sad that they're all bucklings, and that kind of sucks. I feel you on that. But name them. Would you like to meet blah 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 and blah blah blah? Billy the Kid and any funny goat names you can come up with. And it don't gotta be a deep email. Just be like, hey, they're born. If you'd like to come, shoot me an email and let's set up a time. This is a great time to take holiday photos. You Who can say in their holiday photos, you get a lot of these cheesy, corny, stupid holiday photos. Who can say they actually have goats on their Christmas card? How many people can say that? And not just goats, like stinky, musty goats. How many people can say they have baby goats on their Christmas card? I bet you no one can say that unless they raise goats. You can change that for them. They'll have the best damn Christmas card they done ever made. Anyways, so we're running low on time, so I'll wrap up this part of the session. I want to take just a few minutes, if we can, just to show if you've learned, because some of y'all been here since day one. If you've learned anything, if there's something of value that you got from these webinar experiences, um, both I and the ADCA would love to just kind of hear a very brief testimonial of just like, oh, like I didn't know I could do this, or I tried implementing this and that really helped, or like y'all are helping me figure out what phase two is going to look like. We would just love to hear a testimonial. It could be under a minute. So if this has been helpful for you, we want to know. We already got y'all's captive audience attention. So if you'd like to just give a brief testimonial about how this has been helpful, feel free to say something.
If it's all right, I'll just jump in real quick. Is it for me? I think the biggest thing is that I'm new to farming in the last 2 years, new to Dexter's, and so I have a million and one questions. And if nothing else, it was reassuring to hear other people ask some of the same questions that have been bothering me. So I know that it's not just me, and it's a common thing. Whether it's hay prices or processing an animal or getting customers, those types of things. So, as far as this particular, series that I got to sit in on, that's been a huge help to me and to help me kind of look at, that it's encouraging, right, to continue to move forward. So, that's where I'm at with this. It's just been really helpful for me.
Oh, thank you, John. We appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you. Anyone else that'd like to share a brief testimonial?
I will. We're also new, and I wasn't able to attend the last two sessions, but um, this one and the prior ones that I did attend were just great, just to kind of show that, yep, we're on the right track, doing the right things, what else we should be looking at doing, looking at like the pre-order options and different things like that, looking at, how to figure out the profit margins and marketing and all of that and some potential other areas with the, possibly going into using the tallow and other things like that as it allows. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for sharing, Sherry. Anyone else want to do a brief testimonial? And we can see your face. That mean the world to us. We want to see you. We want
Hey,
to see your
Pork
pretty
Ryan, I
smiling
just
face.
wanted to jump in and say that I used one of your techniques. Started out in the egg business and started handing out pounds of hamburger to the egg customers, thanks to the marketing class, and sold a quarter cow just yesterday from that, and it helped out a lot.
Wow! Heck yeah! Heck yeah! Yeah. Sorry, that's exciting to hear. I was tickled pink, and I'm not even pink. Like, yeah, I'm gonna put a little tear in my eye. Thank you for sharing that. Ugh. Oh man, that's so good to hear. I'm so proud of you. I'm happy for you. Really am. All right, anyone else? Who else would like to do a just brief little testimonial? Only have to be a minute or less.
I tell you, we are 4 years into our Dexter experience. We've got chickens and hopes of putting ducks and pigs on here as well. But this class has has really kind of redirected us from just raising Dexters to making a farm experience. We have our honky tonk barn down below that we think we're going to use as like the gift shop and that kind of stuff. And despite my dad's best warnings of being a dairy cow farmer, Kimberly talked me into possibly for the farm experience, we might even milk some Dexter cows for people that are milk or intolerant. What do they call that? Dextrose intolerant or whatever it is. Lactose intolerant. I don't know. I don't know if I'm talking to you anymore, Kimberly, or not, but golly, we're just going to make this thing fun, by golly.
Good. Well, if you ever have any questions or you need advice or if anything short of wringing my neck, just call me.
Oh, that is so awesome. Oh, and Kimberly is a great person to learn from. We're going to talk more about Kimberly in a little bit. All right, Ian Taylor's trailer. if I'm pronouncing that right, said, I attended 5 out of 8 sessions and really appreciated the team taking time to put this together and really share a wealth of knowledge, getting us to all think outside the box and get a better idea of the support network that is out there. Thanks a ton. And then Tim said, I've learned that it is important to set a budget. Woo, thank. If you had learned anything, I'm so glad you learned that, Tim. That's a really important one. I'm happy. The next time we sell beef, we are going to try to charge more, amen, for our beef and try to promote the quality of grass-fed Dexter beef. Hallelujah. I need to hear an update on how that goes, Tim. I need to hear an update. Reach out to me. Reach out to Kimberly and the board. We want to hear how that goes. All right. Any more 1 minute or less testimonials that you just want to say?
This one thing that this has done for me is to help me realize that we're going in the right direction. Like it seems like most everyone on this call, for the most part, has been only into Dexter's for a few years and is kind of just finding their way. We've been into Dexter's for 5 years and finally just getting to where we're beginning to sell like our beef in the last year. But I don't know, it helps me have confidence that, you know, we're getting over that hump, that beginning hump of just trying to build something to where, you know, things are going to begin to come to fruition that we've dreamed of and hoped for. We've been putting in that time, and that we're not so far off from really beginning to feel like we're a success story. And hearing from all of you and where you guys are at in relationship to where we're at, and all these different lessons, you know, of budgeting, of marketing, of all that, is really helping to continue to lead us in the direction that I want to go. So I've really enjoyed this.
Oh, thanks for sharing, Denise. And yeah, the reason why I did not just, I mean, I could have just said, all right, I want to talk for an hour and read a presentation. I can talk about all these topics for an hour, but like that's not hard for me to do. Um, but that's not nearly as impactful if as y'all building community, learning from one another, having the breakout sections, knowing you're not alone in your struggles, and also that there are people who are actually succeeding when maybe you hadn't even started yet. You know, I know a lot. I've won awards as an educator. I've been on national television. But guess what? That doesn't mean that I know everything. And y'all's experiences are just as valuable, especially when you think about how you are part of an organization. You're part of an organization, like I said earlier, that is one of the top 3 highest functioning heritage breed associations without a shadow of a doubt. Y'all are blessed. All these other heritage breed associations, they are a hot dumpster fire. Y'all are doing a good job. So I'm just excited for y'all and the success. Again, I want to personally hear updates. The board wants to hear updates. We want to hear how this training will impact you for the next 3 to 6 months. Maybe can do more trainings. I don't know. Maybe we can do that. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. So in closing, I did want to highlight a few things and then let y'all go. Normally when I do these in person, we have cake. We don't have cake this time, unfortunately, so sorry about that. Um, but one thing that I've been working on lately is really seeing that this information, this content, is not just meant for my clients. I have institutional clients, university systems, extension, also associations, including breed associations. I want to make more of this type of content accessible and available to any type of farmer, anyone getting out and want to do something that's a part of the land and be profitable on it. So because of that, one thing that I have started doing is I have created a new podcast called the Agropreneur Business Podcast. My whole goal in this podcast is to make sure that people are powerfully equipped with what you have experienced over the last 8 sessions and then some. In this podcast, we'll be talking about things that I unfortunately don't have enough time to talk about in our sessions that we do. Again, these sessions, each session I could speak on the entire time for an entire hour. And I've only been giving y'all really about 20 to 30 minutes of my voice. And so I want to be able to continue that journey with y'all on the podcast. So this podcast, you can go to YouTube and I will put in a link for that. And I'd love to hear some feedback. If you guys have content ideas, I want to hear what kind of content ideas that y'all have that would be impactful, not just for y'all, but also for the folks who are in similar situations and positions that you are in. So I'm going to put that in the chat real quick. And then also, some of y'all have asked me in the chat about kind of what I do and how to reach out to me one-on-one. And so you can go to my website if you want to do that. It's called agrointernational.us. And I'll put that one in the chat as well. Again, I do one-on-one consultations with farmers. I also primarily, most of my business is working with farmers through larger groups and organizations like what you have here today. But if you're like, hey, I need some one-on-one help, I really need some one-on-one help, just reach out to me and we can set something up. But with I think after that, I have nothing else to say. I'm just grateful to be here. Thank y'all for staying over a little bit. Thank y'all for riding through. Again, there are a lot of y'all who have been here since day one, and I just feel really honored and appreciated that y'all thought I had something valuable to say, and also that the ADCA had something valuable to give to you. Um, I ain't gonna say the price number, but they paid a pretty penny to have me do this. And so, for them to take that to talk about to take that risk on me, I hope I have delivered the worth that they paid for. If actually more than that, I hope I've done more than that. But I hope that what I have done over the last 8 weeks would be able to equate to more money than they ever paid me. It is my hope, it is my dream that you all can be successful in farming. But again, I try to make sure you understand that with this farming thing, don't forsake your family. Don't forsake the people who are in your corner. Treat them well. Maybe they haven't treated you the best. Guess what? Be the better person, be the example. It's going to be okay. We got a lot of people who are rooting for us. Let's treat them well. Let's not forsake them. Also, treat yourself well. Celebrate your own journey. Celebrate the victories that you have. Maybe it didn't look like what you thought this year was going to look like. Guess what? You are still breathing. You still are able to work or operate to some capacity. You still have a pulse. You still got at least some people who care about you and check in on you. Be grateful for that and allow that gratitude to expand, not just in your business, but in your personal life as well. There is no point to farming if I lose my family at the end of the day. Simply not. So keep your family as a priority. For some of you who believe in God, keep God as a priority. And as always, make sure you're taking care of yourself. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great night. And also, I hope to see y'all again soon. Thanks. Oh, and Kimberly, if you have any final announcements, feel free to plug that in there too.
No, I don't. I think we're good.
Cool. Well, I will shut that down. I'll also have one special announcement, but I don't want this one to be recorded. So